capped a big first inning with a 2-run blast, while sparkling defense sealed the Rays' win in Game 1. Today, right-hander Jeremy Hellickson takes the reins, looking to continue a winning trend. The Rays and the Orioles, Game 2 on Sun Sports. We again welcome you to Tropicana Field. This will be the middle game of this 3-game series. The Rays winners last night, so they'll try to pick up a victory here in this late afternoon start to take the series from the Baltimore Orioles. And for the first time since the current division format in 1994, every team in the American League East is at least 2 games over 500. The Rays in first place over the Baltimore Orioles. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Rays Baseball with Todd Callis in for Brian Anderson, who has the weekend off. I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Rays 5-0 winners last night, so they're in first place by a game for the first time since May the 9th. They're there all alone, and today they will have Jeremy Hellickson on the mound. Todd, he loves to pitch in his home ballpark here at the Trop, and he loves to pitch against the Baltimore Orioles. 2 good trends.
Yeah, how about that? He's got the combination working today. I just love this kid's consistency. One of my favorite numbers about him, 43 career starts, and he keeps his team in every game. 39 of those 3 earned runs or less, and especially here at Tropicana Field, look at those numbers. I mean, a 1.63 ERA on the heels of a 2011 Rookie of the Year campaign. This is a very comfortable place for Hellickson to pitch, and so far, a very comfortable team for him to pitch against.
Well, it will be Jeremy Hellickson on the mound looking for his 5th win as we take a look at our Southern Ford Dealers pitching matchup. Jeremy 4-1. He won 4 before dropping a decision. Had 1 no decision in his last 2 starts along with that loss. Brian Mattis, the lefty on the hill for Baltimore. 2 25-year-old young pitchers here. Mattis 4-5, making his 11th start of the year. As reported, the Rays off to a fast start last night. They scored 5 in the first inning, and Hideki Matsui took care of 2 of those runs with his 2nd blast since coming to the ball club. This one out down the right field side. More on Hideki Matsui in a moment.
On Rays Live, the Rays taking on the Orioles, trying to send the Orioles in fact consecutive defeat. Good to be with you again. Barry LeBrock, Orestes Destrada. We touched about it a little bit in the pregame show, but now that we're rid of these pesky chairs, I want you to show me a little bit of Hideki Matsui.
Well, I tell you what, it's so nice to have a healthy Hideki Matsui because he works so much, as many Japanese hitters, but especially him, with the lower half. He's pretty much about the foundation. And when he had the bad hammies, bad knees, it was hard for him to do that, especially the first half of last year. And then the second half, he was healthier, and we're seeing that now. He basically, when he sets up, and you'll see him get nice and balanced, you're going to look for that right knee to kind of almost go towards the catcher as opposed to going towards the pitcher. He goes towards the catcher, stays balanced, and everything is nice and flat through the zone. Let's take a look at some of these big Godzilla swings. Look at the nice balance. The knee goes back. Nice follow through, and he covers the plate so well. You see how the knee, he actually kicks it back towards the catcher. A lot of guys will take their stride and just go straight on towards the pitcher, towards the mound, but watch him kick it back towards the catcher. What that does is that locks you in. It locks you in to stay nice and balanced using the foundation, and then you use your hands, and his hands are fine, his swing is fine.
Yeah, we talked all about the balance of his splits, but the balance there in his swing is undeniable. We're ticking down toward game time. There is Hideki. He is in the lineup. Matt Joyce, another left-hander. Joe Madden says he's a little under the weather. You won't see him start, but you might see him a little bit later in the game. Ryan Mattis, get his warm-up tosses. He'll face Jeremy Hellickson. Stay there.
Today brought to you by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer for great deals on the amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Tires Plus. The plus is in everything we do. Fans converging upon Tropicana Field. Comfortable setting here for the middle game of this series. And today's Rays game is presented in high definition. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Rays and the Orioles 2-2 in their season series. And for Buck Showalter. The Orioles will have Endy Chavez leading off, followed by J.J. Hardy, and then Chris Davis, the DH. Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, and Mark Reynolds down the middle. Wilson Betemit at third, hitting seventh in front of the right fielder Ryan Flaherty. Robert Andino at second, hits ninth.
Jeremy Hellickson makes his 11th start of the season. His last 2 have been his longest of the year, and that's because his control has been much better. He did have that one long start against the Yankees to begin the season, but his last 2 have been very good, and able to spot that fastball for a strike has been key.
Well, there's Endy Chavez to lead it off. And the first pitch is a strike call. That first pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. So we're underway. 25-year-old right-hander Hellickson 4-1, making his 11th start of the year. And that picks up the inside edge. Couple fastballs to start. 0-2.
First one on the outer half. You can see it right on the edge. This one on the inner half, and that had plenty of plate. Chavez was bailing out.
He fouls it back. So 3 straight fastballs to start him. He's in left field today with Flaherty playing right field. The Orioles, because of injury, with an outfield shortage. It's popped up foul, going to go straight back and off the facing of the press level. Well, the Rays 1 full game in front of Baltimore, a game and a half in front of New York, with Boston and Toronto each 3 back. One ball, 2 strikes.
A lot of fastballs in this at bat from Hellickson. He has not gone to that bread and butter changeup for a strikeout, but after Chavez had been moved off the plate there, this could be the perfect time for it.
The 1-2 and hit on the ground, foul outside of first. Well, you can see or sense that he's making a real effort to establish that fastball early, which will only make the changeup all that more effective.
Yeah, and Jeremy feels like his control with that fastball is as good right now as it's been at any point this season. He struggled with that command early in the season, especially in April.
And there is strike 3 called. He finally came with the changeup, and Chavez took it, looked at it for the first out.
Adam Jones made a comment after last night's game about the team needing to be more aggressive, but Chavez took a strike for strike 2, and then that's just a changeup at the knees there. It's a good pitch right over the middle.
Here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy hitting .259. Outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Hardy had a base hit last night in 4 trips and was victimized in the 4th inning of last night's game on a great catch by Matt Joyce in right center field. Hellickson falls behind him. 2-0. That's a strike on the edge. Fastball catching that outside corner. Vic Carapazza calling the balls and strikes. Chris Guccione at first, Tim Sheet at second, Jeff Nelson down at third. And that's a strike on the outside corner. Boy, Hellickson, here to the first 2 hitters, really working over the corners.
I mean, look at this. The first strike was right on the edge. The next one, that's perfect. Nothing you can do with that pitch.
And a little popper into short center. Upton coming on is there. Well, he went fastball all the way until the last pitch. He got him on a changeup.
Take a look at the Rays defensively behind Hellickson. Matsui back in left field. B.J. Upton with his 6th outfield assist last night. Ben Zobrist in right. Drew Sutton at third. Elliot Johnson, Sean Rodriguez, and Carlos Pena. Jose Lobaton makes his 5th start behind the plate for Jeremy Hellickson tonight.
Here's Chris Davis. And the pitch is inside. 1 ball.
Our scouting report on Sean Rodriguez defensively, he's as good a second baseman, shortstop, third baseman as the Rays have on their team, and he can make some highlight type plays.
taken low. 2-0. So Hellickson consistently starting these hitters with the fastball and moving it around. Behind Davis. He takes a rip. 2-1.
That's a late swing on a 2-0 fastball. Almost like Davis was expecting something else. Let's take another look. Davis a little bit tardy.
Well, you think about 2-0. Anytime a pitcher with a good changeup is behind in the count is a good changeup count, and he didn't throw him one, but he did 2-1 and pops him up. And that will take care of Davis. Sean Rodriguez doing the formalities of making that catch. Are still in fashion.
Something's missing from that helmet.
Sterling got 9 to go. 8.5, 8 maybe if it's good. Well, Carlos Pena is going to lead off here for the Rays, followed by B.J. Upton and then Ben Zobrist, Luke Scott, Sean Rodriguez, and Hideki Matsui in the heart of the lineup, followed by Drew Sutton, Jose Lobaton, and then Elliott Johnson.
They will face this left-hander for the Orioles, Ryan Mattis, who had a really difficult 2011, but he kind of put it back together, especially in his last few starts for Baltimore. Tough on lefties especially. Last night's starter, Wei-Yin Chen, was kind of a neutral lefty. This guy really can dominate lefties because he throws that good slider. He's been throwing a lot more sliders lately than he did earlier in the year. But a fastball, slider, cutter, and a curveball. He'll mix in a change as well to the righties.
Here's that lefty-righty breakout, and how about that? You talk about a swing. 135 against lefties and 333 for right-handed hitters. Well, here's Carlos Pena in the leadoff spot again for the Rays, and Mattis throws him a fastball. 1 strike the count as Pena missed it. Two fastball. Carlos with 8 home runs, and behind Mattis 2 strikes. Carlos opened the Rays' first inning last night with a double, and he pops it up. Foul ball, and it's headed out of play. Pena hitting 183 against lefties, against a guy who is, as those numbers indicated, about as good as you're going to get against left-handed hitters. 0-2, and he's out on strikes. Well, there's that slider that you referenced, Todd, and a very good one to Carlos Pena.
Yeah, he had him 0-2. Carlos popped up the last fastball, so then they go to that down and away slider. Carlos tries to cover the plate, but had some nice, nasty downward and away movement away from the left-hander. That is a tough pitch for lefties, especially down in the count.
Here's B.J. Upton. The pitch is high. Started him with a slider that stayed up, but still had that slider action on it. And a little soft liner hit the other way and caught by Reynolds. Had a little sink on it. 2 gone.
Check out the Orioles defense. Andy Chavez in left field today. Adam Jones has started every game in center. Ryan Flaherty in right. Wilson Betemit, the solid shortstop. J.J. Hardy, Robert Andino, Mark Reynolds, back-to-back starts at first. Matt Wieters, the Gold Glove catcher behind the plate for Brian Mattis.
There's Buck Showalter, the skipper of this Baltimore club. The Orioles trying to weather an injury storm, much like the Rays have had to do. Pitch to Ben Zobrist is outside. 1-0. Red Sox have battled that. The Yankees have had issues with keeping everybody healthy. A 2-0 count. A couple fastballs missing to Zobrist. And it's 3-0. Ben is second in the league in walks with 35. It's amazing how he sees so many pitches. And he takes ball 4. Now here's Mattis, who against Pena and Upton made great pitches, and he walked Zobrist on 4 straight.
Yeah, Ben sees more pitches than anybody on the Rays team. 4.08 per plate appearance coming into this series, and he is very patient. He waits for a small zone, especially when he gets ahead of the count. He won't chase anything. And that time, you're right, Mattis was locked in for the first 2 hitters, and all of a sudden 4 outside the zone against Ben.
Well, Luke Scott. Scott drove in 2 runs to start the scoring for the Rays last night. He leads the team and runs batted in, and is tied for 6th in the American League in RBIs. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Baltimore down an order in the top of the first against Hellickson. Rays with a 2-out base runner on the walk issued to Ben Zobrist. Ground ball right side. That's going to wind up in shallow right, where Andino is shaded and makes the play. Rays leave a man. We're at the end of 1. No score.
game available in Spanish via SAP, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Jeremy Hellickson with a 1-2-3 first. He made 16 pitches in that inning, picking up a strikeout along the way. And he'll begin the second inning facing Adam Jones, the cleanup hitter, Matt Wieters, and Mark Reynolds to follow. Imposing numbers for Adam Jones to begin this game. Jones had 2 hits last night, 2 out of 4. Had a 20-game hitting streak snapped, so he's hit safely in 21 of his last 22. He is 6 of 16 lifetime with 2 home runs against Hellickson. The pitch moves away. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul back. Out of play it goes. 1-1.
Yeah, especially lately, Jones with good at-bats against Hellickson. His last 5 ABs, 3 hits, including those 2 home runs you mentioned, and a double.
Pitch is in there. A little break to that one. And it's 1-2.
That had a nice bite to it. Started right at Jones' hip, ended up on the inner half of the plate.
And a cut and a miss. He strikes out Adam Jones. He doubled up on the curveball right there. Pitch selection so far has been very interesting for Hellickson. He's doing a good job with the fastball and now back-to-back curveballs. All of that to set up eventually the changeup.
Yeah, you can see the bite on that breaking ball as it really dove down. Back-to-back curveballs to get Jones. They both had nice bite to them. That last one really dove at the plate.
Well, Matt Wieters fouls this one back, and that's a strike. Well, Hellickson went through a period where he was getting hurt on full count pitches, and that's improved a bit lately. With 1 strike now, the Rays swing that shift over even more. Elliott Johnson playing the normal second base spot. Sean Rodriguez in short right field. The pitch is inside. The last time he faced the Orioles, he gave up a couple of home runs on 3-2 counts. You can see 10 for the year, and 5 of those coming with a 3-2 count. The opposition hitting over 320 off him with a count of 3-2. 2 balls and a strike. And when you talk to the Rays about that, it's pretty interesting. He's been able to do what you would think might be the most obvious thing to do if you're being hurt 3-2, 2-2 right now. And you talk to Jim Hickey, the Rays pitching coach, and the bullpen coach Stan Borowski about that. So what do you do when a guy's giving up half his home runs on a 3-2 count and the opposition's hitting over 320? Well, they say the best thing to do is don't go 3-2. And there's some wisdom in that, as simple as that sounds. Swing and a miss on 2-2. And Wieters is out. He missed a fastball there. Well, of course. It's like, well, hey, my elbow hurts when I bend it. Well, don't bend it. Well, that's the same kind of logic there. If you can avoid bending your elbow when you don't need to. There are times when you really need to, by the way. But Hellickson has done exactly that. In his last 2 outings, he's had a 3-2 count on hitters only twice in his outings against Toronto and Boston. First pitch to Reynolds is a fastball, a strike. He went 3-2 to Jose Bautista against the Blue Jays. You might remember that one. That was an extended at bat.
Right.
3-2, and he struck him out looking on a fastball over the inside corner. And then he went 3-2 in the outing against the Red Sox to Dustin Pedroia. And he got him on a fly ball to right field. Those are the only 2 times he's gone to 3-2 in his last 2 starts. That covered 7 1/3 against the Blue Jays and 7 2/3 against the Red Sox. Reynolds way out in front. So the count is 1-2. That's the changeup. So it makes sense. Just don't go there. And he hasn't.
Yes, you're right. I mean, that's a lot of at-bats there over 15 innings his last 2 starts. He's been able to spot his curveball so far today, and that changeup looked real good on the last pitch.
2-2. And interesting, if you look at last year, he gave up no home runs on 3-2 counts the entire year. Gave up 21 home runs for the year on his way to being Rookie of the Year. But no home runs to the opposition. And they hit a little over 240 against him.
There you go.
So it's a full count now to Reynolds. He threw him a curveball that bounced.
Well, one of the things that Jim Hickey's been preaching to Hellickson is he doesn't want to see the walks build up. He had a lot of walks early in the season, 15 through his first 6 starts. So especially with 2 outs, he does not want to give in to the hitter. So he's going to be somewhere around the plate here.
Well, here's the challenge. 3-2. You want to throw a strike 3-2. And it's fouled back. He came with a fastball. And one of the issues becomes 3-2. The hitter starts to divide that plate in half, and he's looking away. That's why Bautista on that prolonged 3-2 battle he had with him, and he got a strike in. And a lot of Hellickson's stuff would be away. And a liner down the left side that's going to fall just foul. And Reynolds out in front just enough of that changeup to pull it foul. Not by much.
No, pretty close. He had a pretty good swing on the fastball 3-2. So then they go to the changeup 3-2, and you saw just about a foot foul as he hooked it.
Couple of strikeouts of Jones and Wieters, and now 3-2 to Mark Reynolds. Left side of the infield overloaded. And again on 3-2. He pops him up. Right side foul. Will it stay playable? The answer is no. Came down in the second row and bounced down toward the middle of the dugout, behind the dugout, about 4 rows deep. So this battle continues with Mark Reynolds, who has great power. He strikes out a lot, and he has great power. Three-two for the 4th time, and he walked him. Missed low. So Reynolds becomes the first base runner allowed.
Number 24, Wilson Bentley.
We talked about Ben Zobrist seeing a lot of pitches. Mark Reynolds, very, very patient at the plate with a big power hitter. He takes a lot of pitches early in the count and works deep counts. He's second in the league in pitches per plate appearance, and that time 9 pitches against Hellickson.
Brings up Wilson Bentley. The pitch is down a bit. Bentley, 226 on the year and 3 of 6 lifetime against Jeremy Hellickson. And a strike. 1-1. Bentley, switch hitter and left-handed, 258, 6 of his 7 home runs from the left side. There's a strike. Fastball. 1-2.
Good little tailing action on that pitch. That's the one pitch, that little two-seamer to the left-hand hitters on the outside part that Hellickson feels like he hasn't been very consistent with, finding that zone on the outside corner. That was a good one right there.
Now 1-2, and he just missed. Well, Hellickson looking for that call. Instead, the count's going to go to 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to go back out a little further, and there you see it just missed the corner. Figured that Betemit might chase there down 1-2.
Another a good shot right there, but just off the plate. Into left center field. Matsui is closing, and he makes the catch, retiring the side. Bottom of inning 2 coming, no score.
In today's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Rays home run hit during televised Sun Sports or Fox Sports Florida games.
And Sean Rodriguez up there to open the home half of the 2nd inning. Facing Brian Mattis, the lefty. Rays drew a walk in the first against him. Fastball is down. No ball and no strikes. When Mattis first came up during the 09 season, he made 8 starts and was 5-2. And the Orioles had high hopes for him. A pitch is upstairs. Tried to change up, and it stayed way up. And 2010 was his first full season. He was 10-12 that year. Made 32 starts and had a .430 earned run average. He's up and away. Fastball about the same spot as that changeup, with a little more behind it. And the count is 3-0. Rodriguez taking. It's 3-1. Fly ball, pretty well hit back into left. Chavez will go to the track. He's going to have room to make the catch. Rodriguez got some carry, but not quite enough, and just in line with the 370 marker. Chavez grabbed it.
Just in enough on the hands. Watch this. This doesn't quite get the barrel. It just kind of tried to pull those hands through and just missed. I mean, another 5 feet, and the Rays have the early 1-0 lead.
Well, here's Hideki Matsui. Twice now he's jumped on the first pitch and hit home runs, and he was swinging at the fastball there. A big cut. Strike one. And that was the story on Matsui. A couple of interesting things about him, and throughout his career, his lefty righty split has been very good. I mean, even throughout his career. And last year against the league while playing for Oakland, he was deadly first pitch. Take a look at his career numbers. I mean, when we say even, it's even. 285, 285. The 0-2 pitch. Upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He had 344 last year on the first pitch of an at bat for Oakland. 251 overall. And that's strike 3, says Vic Carapazza. Second strikeout of the game for Mattis.
Both strikeouts have come against lefties, and both with that slider ahead of the count. Matsui saw the slider 0-1 and put a bad swing on it, so the Orioles came back to it at 1-2. And I think he tried to hold up, but Carapazza said he went around.
Looks to Drew Sutton. Too high, a ball and no strikes.
Been a strange start for Mattis in that he's got the zone locked in against lefties, but against Zobrist and Rodriguez, right-hand hitters, has had trouble finding the zone.
That's a strike. 1-1.
Zobrist, of course, a right-hand hitter today, switch hitter overall.
And the fly ball lifted into center. Adam Jones waiting right there, and he makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. We're headed into the third. No score.
As they move to the third, I am with Caitlin Davis, many would say the better half of Wade Davis and the Rays pitching staff. Very involved with Rays on the Runway to benefit Children's Dream Fund. Tell us a little bit about this event. It's coming up on June 14th.
Yep, it's called Rays on the Runway, and a lot of the boys, most of them actually, and if they have a better half, like myself, we'll be walking down the runway with them, and kids included from the Children's Dream Fund, which is an organization that helps kids with life-threatening illnesses. I mean, it helps their dreams come true. They get a wish, and this company makes it all come true for them, and it's really fun. They provide dreams all the way from Disney Cruise Lines to hanging out with Tim Tebow for the day. And who doesn't want to hang out with Tim Tebow for the day?
You know, I've seen pictures of this event in the past, and you seem pretty comfortable up there. The Rays players, not so much. What's your feeling?
You know, there is some stylish ones. Some of them really, really dig it. Wade likes it just because he gets to walk with the kids. After I kind of conditioned them into making them realize he's not the scariest man alive. It's just his bone structure. It really is. It's just his face.
It's genetics.
Yeah. It's all in eyebrow bones. But no, they all have a lot of fun. I would say Ben Zobrist is probably the most stylish.
Oh, all right. All right, so this, if you want sponsorships, they're available. Contact Cindy Stokes, cstokes@childrensdreamfund.org. It's at the Marriott in St. Pete. And where can we pick up tickets as a line out to first to start the inning?
At www.childrensdreamfund.org, and they're $125 a ticket, $75 for students and kids under 17. And you can pick up a patron ticket for $250, which guarantees you a seat on the runway, your name in the program. And doors open at 6:30. You can hang out with the guys. I mean, hang out with me. Nobody wants to do that, but get autographs, whatever you want to do. And at 8 o'clock, the runway show starts.
Sounds like fun. Childrensdreamfund.org, June 14th. Guys.
All right, thank you for that update. Robert Antino takes the pitch down.
Caitlin's always entertaining. Always entertaining on those spots.
Yeah, we need more time than just that little drop-in spot. You know, there's a whole segment there.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe a special. 1-0 pitch is lifted into center. Upton is there. And so that is out number 2.
I think last year she was the mystery wife. That was entertaining.
Yes.
So every year she brings something to the table.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I see a potential special.
You going to be walking this year? I know you've done some in the past.
No, hey, they have a full roster.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Full roster.
They are.
We'd have to designate somebody or put somebody on the 60-day DL to make room. None
too
of that.
many guys on the DL already.
Yeah. Top of the order, Indy Chavez. And the pitch to him is a strike. 2 up, 2 down. No score in this game. Jeremy Hellickson against Brian Mattis. Hellickson to this point has been judicious with the use of his changeup.
Saw Hellickson there after Lobaton went to about the 3rd or 4th side. I asked Hellickson how rare it is for him to shake a catcher, and he says, well, I never shake anyhow. I just look at them for a while, and they eventually go through the different sides.
Yeah, but he has no expression, so how do they know?
That's what I was wondering.
1-1 to count. Well, you talk about having a game face. Away now from the field, we're starting to see a lot of expression, some smiles and all that, but you put him on the mound, it's all business. It's a good poker face. Oh, there's a well-hit ball to right. Zobrist looking up, and that's going to get out of here. A 2-1 fastball, and Chavez puts some backspin on that one and lines it out of here. And the Orioles will take a 1-0 lead. It's the first hit of this game and his first home run of the year.
Saw where Lobaton was set up. He wanted that pitch on the outer half, and you can see it cuts across to right down the middle of the plate. Hellickson knew as soon as that swing that was a mistake that Chavez was going to jump on. He hit 5 home runs last year for the Rangers, gets his first this year as an Oriole.
Yeah, that's just missed location right there, right down the middle. Now the pitch to J.J. Hardy. The changeup to start him, and that's ball 1. Liner up the left side, and this one will be fair. It's going to one-hop the low wall for a 2-base hit. I think he threw him the changeup, back-to-back changeups, and he pulled that one just fair for the double.
You're right. It was a changeup, and Hardy went down and got it. Not many ground rule doubles in Tropicana Field, but over that low wall, a little easier to bounce over.
So a home run and now a double. And here is Chris Davis. Davis popped out down the right field line his first time. Again, bats against the shift, and the pitch is too low. A fastball. Strike, curveball, started wide and broke over.
Curveball's been good today. Got Adam Jones on a couple of curves, and I think that's about as good as you can do right there, right on the outer half.
Well, the Orioles overall have had some offensive issues recently, but Davis has continued to hit over the last couple of weeks. He's up in the count now, 2-1, and for the last 14 games, 365. They got him from the Texas Rangers in the middle of last season. Two.
Rare to get a couple of called strikes on Davis. We mentioned this Orioles team takes a lot of pitches. They are first in the American League in called third strikes, but Davis not one of them. He usually takes a good percentage of swings within pitches in the zone. That time he took one right on the outer half.
And it's second with a run home on the home run, and the 2-2 to Davis. He strikes him out. Lobatone with the toss down to first to complete the strikeout. So they settle for the one run on the Chavez homer. 1-0 Baltimore. By Indy Chavez. Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the third. They had a big first inning last night. As we take a look at our Toyota trend, a 5-run first. They've had 11 multi-run innings. Well, there's a check in the last 7. A 5-run inning. They've had one of those and one 4-run inning. They've done a lot of their scoring in bunches recently over the last week, as we can see there. Jose Lobatone. And the pitch is a strike. Interesting how those things break out. You know, there was conventional theory that if you had some good hitters, you're better off if you just bunch all of those good hitters together. and try to get something going that way. But then the other school of thought is, and a lot of managers love to do this, and Madden has done this as well, you spread that lineup out and play the lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty all the way down through. And you mentioned earlier that Mattis was having a little difficulty finding the zone against right-handed hitters. Pretty good against lefties, with that slider especially. He's been good. And if you go left, right, sometimes you don't give that pitcher a chance to settle in against either. Lobatone fouls it. The count is 2-2.
He fell behind Zobrist and then walked him on 4 pitches. B.J. Upton, he fell behind 1-0. Drew Sutton, he fell behind 1-0 and fell behind Sean Rodriguez 3-0. And here to Lobatone 2-1. So you're right. Lefties, he's been getting strike 1, strike 2. Righties hasn't been quite the same so far.
The ground ball to third, stays down for Betamit. His throw in time to get Lobatone. That's the first out in the home half of the third.
You can send your favorite Rays players to the All-Star game this summer by logging on to RaysBaseball.com or filling out ballots at Tropicana Field. Vote now and vote often.
Carlos Pena in the leadoff spot. He'll follow Elliott Johnson to the plate. Elliott in the batter's box right now. Shortens on that bat as if to bunt. Takes ball 1. And a strike. Now 1-1. Mattis had a tough year last year. He had some injury issues as well. And a ground ball, and Dino takes care of that. So 2 up and 2 down. Mattis had some oblique issues last year, and he seemed to lose velocity and command, and with that, confidence. But he looks much better in this game than any time we have seen him in the recent past.
This guy's got a lot of upside. He was a 4th overall pick in the 2008 draft. And you're right, last year was about everything that could go wrong for him including that confidence.
Pitch inside, and apparently an identity crisis if you look at his glove.
How about that? Left over.
Brady Anderson.
Left over from the old Orioles teams.
They must have found that in a closet somewhere. This pitch is a strike on the inside corner, and it's 1-1. There it is. How about that? It's not Brady Anderson on the mound. That's Brian Mattis out there. Pitch is fouled. Big cut by Carlos Pena. The count is now 1-2.
He had a good cut on the 0-1 fastball last at bat. Then he had a good cut on that 1-1 fastball this at bat. Last time after they saw the good cut on the fastball, they went to the slider for the strikeout. I imagine Carlos may get the same thing here.
And it's popped up, foul, and coming back out of play.
Well, they gave him another fastball. That was a little up in the zone. Not exactly, I think, where Mattis wanted it.
Mattis was 1-9 a year ago, 2-3 in their minor leagues. And a swing and a miss. The Rays are down 1-2-3 against him in the third. We head into the fourth, 1-0 Baltimore. headed into the 4th inning. And it's time for the AT&T trivia question. History last night. Yohan Santana becoming the 3rd non-rookie pitcher in history to throw a no-hitter after missing the previous season. 2 others. Who were they? He ran a high pitch count. 5 walks in that no-hitter. Finished it by getting David Freese. And Santana throws the first no-hitter in New York Mets history, which seems impossible when you think about all the great pitchers they've had through the years.
Really?
Adam Jones fouling away a fastball. The 4th inning is underway. That's a strike. But Santana throws the no-hitter. Becomes the first New York Met pitcher ever to do that.
No Tom Seaver.
Yeah, how about that?
No Dwight Gooden. John Matlack.
Got the miss. Now, once they leave the Mets, then they throw no hitters.
Like Nolan?
Yeah, Nolan. Yeah, he just happened to throw a few.
I think he had the 37th anniversary of one of his last night. He was out on the West Coast.
2 strikes to count. Mike Scott threw 1. And even this year, Phil Lumber with his perfect game. Roller hits the mound. Back a second. Sean Rodriguez makes the play to get Jones. I think there's 7 in all.
Wow.
Who, after leaving the Mets, threw a no-hitter, and Santana, the first Met pitcher ever to throw one.
50
David
years.
Cone.
Coney, yeah. 50 years until they get their first no-hitter.
Yeah, over what? Over 8,000 games in Mets history. Finally a no-hitter. 8,020 games to get the no-hitter. Wieters, and he's going to roll it through the open left side. The Rays had Johnson shifted back of second base, and Wieters, who's been struggling at the plate, hits it the other way and has a base hit.
That's how you beat the shift. You can't even see the third baseman Drew Sutton in the left side of your screen. Wide open. Just take a little ground ball to the left side and you have yourself a 1-out hit. You know, it's been so long since the Mets threw a no-hitter, Jamie Moyer wasn't even alive.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how long ago.
Here's Mark Reynolds.
50 years, a long time without a no-hitter.
Pitch is down to Reynolds. Did we name them all? Let's see. What do we have? Ryan, Scott, Gooden, Cone. Who else did we name?
Umber.
Oh, Umber, yeah. Yeah, and of course Seaver. You mentioned Seaver, I think, didn't you?
I mentioned him as not having a no-hitter with the Mets.
Yeah, but he had one afterwards.
Right.
That pitch is a strike, so that gives us. I've got 6. There's another one in there somewhere.
Why we have a research staff.
Yeah, they'll be right on it immediately.
Absolutely.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Mark Reynolds. Ground ball foul. Takes it to 1-2. Wieters, the base runner at first. Wieters had gone 9 for 68 over his last 20 games coming into this one. And he struck out his first time. And his average had gone from 300 down to below 230s. 1-2 now, the count on Reynolds. Low, covered up by Lobaton. 2 balls, 2 strikes. run, 3 hits for the Orioles. The run came on the home run in the 3rd. Andy Chavez hit the fastball out. And a swing and a miss. Had him out in front. Or did he get just a piece of it? He got just a piece of it. So he's still alive.
Hellickson didn't.
Or did he? No, I think he's out. Carapazza says, nope, you're out. And Reynolds just didn't leave the plate. It was a breaking ball. Now, Showalter is going to come out to ask for a clarification.
A lot of that is by sound, too. If you don't hear the tick of the bat before the ball goes in the dirt, then you're going to assume he's just swung and missed. Good break on this curveball. I don't know if that was definitive or not. Let's take a look at this. I don't think he touched it.
From that angle, it didn't look as if he touched it at all. And he's out of there. So Buck asked for the conference. He got it. And that's strike 3. And from that replay, it did not appear from that angle that he made contact. So he's going to be out. Tim Sheeta now comes in. You saw the entire umpiring crew got together, and it was Sheeta who's at second base today who made the physical indication that it was a swing and a miss. And I don't know. I'm assuming that Showalter, but Guccione, if anybody, might be the guy to rule on that. But Sheeta had a look as well. And the Carapazza first called it a strike, a swing and a miss, a clean miss, and got support from the rest of the crew. So a strikeout for Hellickson. 2 outs in the 4th. Here's Wilson Betemit with Wieters at first. The pitch is down. It's 5 strikeouts in this game for Hellickson. Pitch is down. 2-0. Todd, we knew the staff would come through.
How about it?
Hideo Nomo.
Hideo Nomo. His no-hitter is still astounding. The fact that he threw one in Colorado.
There.
I mean, are you kidding me? With all that outfield space.
Cut the miss. 2-1. Rays and the Orioles back at it tomorrow to wrap up the homestand. The 2-1 pitch. Now we're going to go 3-1. A fastball off the plate. 3 balls and a strike. Hellickson making his 7th career appearance. Start against the Orioles. He had a relief appearance, I think, against them. So 8 overall. High fly ball back to right field. Zobrist will go all the way to the track and leap to get it right in front of the wall. Ben Zobrist takes care of the long fly ball off the bat of Wilson Betemit. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still 1-0. For the fourth from Tropicana Field. Let's get the answer to our AT&T trivia question. Johan Santana becoming the third non-rookie in history to throw a no-hitter after missing the previous season. The other two would be. They have an immediate local connection in Jim Palmer, who's here doing the game for the Baltimore Orioles today. Dwight Gooden, the other one. Palmer's no-hitter came in '69 against Oakland after he missed the entire '68 season, and Gooden threw a no-hitter for the Yankees against Seattle in '96 season. Here's Upton shooting one to deep left, but right there is Chavez, about 3 big steps from the warning track. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Rays haven't made great contact against Mattis. That was one of the better struck baseballs on the day, but he's been doing a good job against the Rays lineup first time through.
Jim Palmer had spent pretty much the '68 season with the arm problems in the minor league system, coming back, and then almost immediately after he came off the DL, he threw that no-hitter. Then Zobrist takes a strike. He's the winningest pitcher in Orioles history, Jim Palmer, and of course in the Hall of Fame. There's a strike. 0-2. It's off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes.
2 starts ago, Matt is really good against Boston. They felt like that was one of the better outings he's had in his career. Went 6 1/3 innings, only allowed 2 hits and a run, but he has been just as sharp early on in this game against the Rays.
This is his 11th start of the year. He's 3-2 to Zobrist after walking him on 4 pitches in the first. I'll say this, he looks more comfortable on the mound now, and he looks to be in better shape. Not necessarily that he was in bad shape. He looks better now than when we saw him when he first came up. High pop, and it's going to be handled by the shortstop Hardy, and there is a presence about him out there now that the mound is his territory.
For a guy who was really searching for it last year, you mentioned the injury and the numbers were just not pretty at all. You have an ERA of 10.69 and over 10 starts on the year. Means a lot of guys have hit you hard. So he went to work in the offseason, and that found out the explanation in between innings from the Orioles radio side. That explains the Brady Anderson glove. He and Brady working out in California this offseason.
Makes all the sense in the world now, doesn't it? Big cut and a miss there by Luke Scott. Strike 1.
Joe Angel and Fred Manfred went on to embellish a little bit and said, yeah, he sleeps with the glove.
Not that they would embellish.
They said he sleeps with the glove every night. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, that's enough. I got the Brady Anderson connection.
That's right.
There you go.
See? And quickly he's ahead of Luke Scott. 0-2. Scott is a strikeout. 1-2-3 go the Rays. That slider to the left-handed hitter. We head into the 5th. 1-0 Baltimore.
BetOnline. That's where you'll find your stats, your scores, everything you need right there. And follow us on Twitter. It's at SunSportsRays. Dwight Gooden actually taking to Twitter to congratulate Santana on his no-hitter last night. Good to see that. And then our very own David Price, he took to Twitter as well to give some props to his defense. Of course, Matt Joyce with an exceptional play there. And he made another one right after that, 4th inning and then the 5th. And then there, you see Sean Rodriguez doing what he does so well. And then, of course, we see B.J. Upton. So Price says, great defense tonight by my teammates. And, of course, Sweet Swingin' had another SC top 10 play. Price saying after the game that he thinks every time he pitches, Matt Joyce is going to have one of those excellent plays. Guys?
Well, Ryan Flaherty leads off the 5th inning. Swinging him. Always a good combination when a guy who's referenced as sweet swinging makes great defensive plays, isn't it?
I like it. And he has been sweet swinging this year, especially against lefties. It's good to see him lately against lefties.
1 strike to count here to Flaherty. And he sends a fly ball into right. That's going to be caught by Zobrist. Then Zobrist comes charging in from his right field spot. Another outstanding defensive play by Zobrist. He got back to the wall on the ball hit by Betemit in the 4th inning. It takes care of this one off the bat of Flaherty.
Jeremy Hellickson just joined Twitter, so now he'll have to send something out about the Zobrists. It's Ben makes the fine play in right field. That's, you know, not so easy. He makes it look easy going from second to right, right back to second. It's not that easy to make that transition, but he does it well.
Away, and here's Robert Andino. Pitch is a strike. Andino with a strike. 1 out.
Andino flied to center his first time up, Dwayne. It takes a curveball for a strike, 0-2. Curveball's probably been as good for Jeremy in this game as we've seen it at any point this year. His one mistake was to Endy Chavez, and that's why we have a 1-0 lead in favor of the Orioles here in the 5th. That's a called 3rd strike. 3 pitches, and Andino goes down looking. 6 strikeouts. Jeremy Hellickson. Time now for our Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. B.J. Upton tied for the major league lead with 6 assists out of the outfield. Nelson Cruz, Jason Kubel in the National League, Jose Batista for the Blue Jays. Just as you can count on B.J. Upton, the Rays dude, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Remember, B.J. Upton with those 6 assists, he's only played 37 games, missed the beginning part of the season. There's a called strike on Chavez, 0-1. After the game last night, Steve Tollefson said he probably shouldn't have tried that advancement from first to second, but not many center fielders throw him out from where B.J. Upton was last night.
Yeah, you're going to understand the Orioles. They've now lost 6 in a row, and you know, they'll try to force the issue a little bit to turn things around.
Yeah, losing 6 in a row without much offense at all. 14 runs during that 6-game losing streak. 2 outs here, nobody on base. 1-1 the count to Endy Chavez, and he swings through a changeup, 1-2.
You know, he had fastball in mind. He had a fastball out when he lined the home run in the 3rd, way out in front of the changeup.
Hellickson struck out Chavez his first time up. The 1-2 pitch backs him off the plate. It's 2-2. Both pitchers in command early. Hellickson's allowed 1 run on 3 hits. So far, Brian Mattis has not allowed a hit, and he's walked a batter. Only 1 base runner thus far for the Rays. 2-2 pitch is sent in the air to left field. Matsui pretty much in his tracks, puts it away, and a solid 1-2-3 5th inning for Jeremy Hellickson, thanks to a nice catch by Ben Zobrist to start things off. Bottom of the 5th, 1-0 O's. as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. First weekend of June, the Rays and the Orioles. The Rays winning the opening game of this series last night 5-0. Rays have yet to score in this game, have yet to have a base hit against Brian Mattis as Sean Rodriguez leads things off. Rodriguez rips one, and there's a base hit. Right down the line in left field. Sean will take the turn and go into second with a stand-up double. He sent Andy Chavez all the way to the track his first time up, and he's the one guy who's seen the ball pretty well out of the hand of Brian Mattis.
Ball stayed up and out over the plate. Sean pulls it into the corner. Take a look inside. Those hands pulled in and ripping it up the left field line. It's half a dozen doubles now.
Well, Sean on second base, and now Matsui will try and pull a ball on the right side as the Rays trail 1-0 here in the fifth. Only the second base runner of the game for Tampa Bay, and the first to reach second base. Ben Zobrist walked back in the first, the only other runner. Matsui swings through that slider. That gave him problems in the first at bat when he struck out swinging on a slider. 4 strikeouts for Mattis. 2 against Pena, 1 against Scott, 1 against Matsui. The 3 lefties he is facing in today's lineup. There's a ground ball to the right side. Matsui does his job as he advances the runner. Sean Rodriguez to third with 1 away.
So the Rays get a man as far as third base for the first time, and the Orioles will pull the infield up.
Yeah, one of those games where it feels like runs are going to be precious. So with that in mind, Buck Showalter brings the infield in for Drew Sutton, who flied to center his first time up. Sutton takes a fastball for a strike. 0-1. Rays leading the AL East by themselves, a game ahead of the Orioles. At the start of play today. Misses away, 1-1. Mattis working out of the stretch for one of the rare times this afternoon. Contact play on. Rodriguez coming home. Andino's throw not in time. Great slide by Sean, and the Rays have tied the game.
Oh, that's a great slide by Rodriguez with the infield end. The Rays using their great base running, something that they emphasize. This is playing it the Rays way, as Joe Madden described it. And watch the hand get in there. Left hand, backside of the plate, and the sweep tag attempt by Wieters in this game is tied.
With the infield in, a ball hit right at Andino, and still Rodriguez a good enough jump and a great slide to beat the throw. Joe Madden taking a chance there, and it pays off. The other thing, that throw was just low enough, Dwayne, that Wieters' glove hit the ground. That small little hesitation when his glove hit the ground was a difference, I think, between Sean being out and safe. Lobaton fouls one away. It's 0-2.
Well, Rodriguez was coming home. Contact made. He's headed home. No hesitation at all. And you can see headed to the backside of the plate. And a good call by Vic Carapazza. not assuming, just waiting until the play developed. And the Rays have a run.
Misses away, 1-2. So the Rays scratching out a run on the aggressive base running to tie this game in the 5th. Lobaton grounded to third his first time up. One-two pitch is fouled back. You were mentioning how Carapazzo waited because the ball actually got there first, but watch the glove hit the ground. That's the hesitation. If he's able to clean the sweep with the tag, Dwayne, he may have been able to swipe that tag on him. But that was a good job by both Rodriguez and the umpire. Rodriguez with the slide, Carapazzo with waiting to make the call. First hit of the game results in the Rays' first run.
Well, that is manufacturing a run after that double. You get the guy over to third, score him on the ground ball.
Lobaton foul tip caught by Wieters. That's a strikeout. Number 5 for Mattis here in the 5th inning. He has exactly 1 strikeout in every inning thus far. Mattis selected in that June draft we were talking about earlier, 4th overall pick out of University of San Diego. At the time, he signed a major league contract with a bonus of over $3 million. You can't sign those major league contracts anymore with the new labor agreement. So on Monday's draft, that won't even be in the process when the Rays or other teams have to try and sign their draft picks. No more major league deals for those first-year players. Elliott Johnson takes a strike, 0-1. Rips one foul. It's no balls and 2 strikes. Inside out swing, bounces a foul, no balls and 2 strikes. Rays have the 25th overall selection in the draft. Monday night, the off day, 7 o'clock. Swing and a miss. Mattis gets 2 strikeouts in the inning and 6 overall in the game. But the Rays scratch through with a run after the leadoff double by Sean Rodriguez. We're tied at 1 heading to the 6th.
Tonight, this game is tied 1-1 through 5, and fans, stay tuned after the game for Inside the Rays Behind the Plate, exploring the relationship between the pitcher and the catcher and find out the mental and physical demands that come into play. Inside the Rays Behind the Plate tonight after the Rays and Orioles on Sun Sports, where Rays fans live.
Former catcher Joe Madden. Jeremy Hellickson with a 1-1 game as we head to the 6th inning. Hellickson's only allowed 3 base hits. He has walked a batter. There you see his line on the day. 79 pitches with 6 strikeouts. It'll be J.J. Hardy, Chris Davis, Adam Jones, 2, 3, and 4 in the Orioles lineup. Hardy doubled his last time up on a changeup. Hellickson starts him with another changeup, and it's a strike. That 2-3-4 looks a little different now for the Orioles. Nick Markakis had been the 3-hitter all season long, placed on the disabled list before last night's game. Ground ball right side. Sean Rodriguez to his left, 1 away. Buck Showalter said the thing we missed most about Markakis, just his presence. Guy averages 160 games for the last 5 years. And you just assume he's going to be in right and hitting third every night, and all of a sudden he's not there, and things look a little different. Hardy hit third last night. Today it's Chris Davis's turn. Davis swings and misses the fastball, 0-1.
And Todd, the shift again for Davis, with Sutton moving from third to what would normally be the second base position. Sean Rodriguez, the second baseman, in short right field, and Elliott Johnson stays at short.
Hellickson ahead 0-2. Davis popped up, struck out his last time. Swing and a miss. 3-pitch strikeout for Hellickson. That was the curveball. And that's 7 strikeouts.
He used the curveball to strike him out in the third, and boy, he's right over the top of this one and got great downward bite on that curveball. That has been a very important pitch for him in this game.
And it's really been something he struggled with this year. He said that pitch has been a little bit inconsistent, but I would say today he must feel like it's the best it's been all season. He's made some good pitches, including to the guy at the plate now, Adam Jones, on the curveball. Struck him out with the curve in the 2nd inning. Jones is also grounded out. Thinking about a bunt with 2 outs. Orioles opened a series last weekend at home in front of a great crowd at Camden Yards. Won that opening game against the Royals, then lost the next 2 against Kansas City. And they went to Toronto and lost all 3 against the Blue Jays. Now they've lost the first game of this series to the Rays, so 6 in a row for the Orioles. They're still just a game back in the East, but everything else is bunched up with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays.
And that's one of the things that Buck Showalter and this Oriole team wants to try to stay away from.
Great catch by Drew Sutton to end the inning. Little broken bat, line drive, and Drew Sutton goes up and spears it at the top of his leap. We're still tied at 1. starter Jeremy Hellickson. You can experience a Rays game from the all-inclusive Hancock Bank Club, offering extraordinary seating and luxurious lounge and dining areas. The Hancock Bank Club features an upscale menu and inclusive drink options. For tickets and more information, call 888-FAN-RAYS, or you can visit RaysBaseball.com. Good one this afternoon on a Saturday here at Tropicana Field, all tied at 1 as the Rays have the top of the lineup due up against Brian Mattis. Mattis and Hellickson have only allowed 1 run each. The Rays on 1 hit, the Orioles on 3 hits. Pena swings through that slider. That has given him problems all day long. Nothing in 1. Pena, Upton, Zobrist, the first 3 in the Tampa Bay lineup. Slider got Pena swinging his first time, and then the curveball had him swinging the second time. There's a ball to right field. Pena sends Flaherty all the way back to in front of the track, but he has room and puts it away for the first out. Yesterday, Dwayne, we were talking about some of the Rays players on the DL with Evan Longoria and Jeff Keppinger and Desmond Jennings. Jennings coming back soon. And really, when you look against lefties, the Rays are 2 games under this year against lefty starters and 10 games over against righty starters. And here's part of the reason. That's your OPS, your on-base percentage plus your slugging percentage. And of the healthy guys, Matt Joyce has the highest OPS at 807, but even he's a little bit less than 100% today and not in the lineup. But you saw those other 3.
Yeah, well, that tells the whole story there. And we mentioned Keppinger yesterday. As much as the Rays obviously miss Longoria and Jennings, Keppinger brought in as a great piece that fit in with this club because he's a great contact guy and he's outstanding against left-handed pitching. So they really miss him. And it's just amazing that this team has done what it's done. They're starting to play better defense as well, right, which is important. The pitching's been so great. Defense is picking up, and now if they get the offense healthy here over the next couple of weeks, Jennings appears to be close. They're thinking that Longoria about the middle of the month might be ready for a rehab assignment. So hang in there for another week to 2 weeks and get these pieces slowly put back together.
June is the healing month for the Rays. At least they hope so, with Desmond Jennings probably on his way back on the next road trip. Matt Joyce, we said, not quite 100%. That's why Joe did not play him today. It doesn't have anything to do with how he's doing against lefties, because look at that. I mean, prior to May 5th, 174 batting average, but all of a sudden since Cinco de Mayo, things are a little better. 9 for 24, getting on base half the time.
Well, Joyce will argue opportunity has everything to do with that, and the more you see it, the better chance you have of being better against left-handed pitching. And even then, you know, there are guys who play every day, and managers want to give them a rest, and they will spot them and take them out against certain left-handed pitchers. I could see Madden doing that, and I think Joyce would like that. That'd be fine with him, just so he got a lot of at-bats against left-handed pitching. That's what he's looking for.
Upton picked off, and the throw as Reynolds throws down, and Dino covering as BJ was picked off by Mattis. He went on the move of the first move off the lefty, and he was dead to rights.
You know, here's the interesting thing about Mattis in that regard. You can see first move, and BJ takes off. In 2010, there were only 3 caught stealing, 17 stolen bases against him, but he had 4 straight pickoffs that year. And last year was a tough year, and the opposition 8 out of 10 running against him. So it'll be interesting now if he's healthy again, and he looks good today, to see how that running game works out against him. Not so good there for the Rays.
He walked Upton on 5 pitches, but then erases him on the pickoff, and now he's down 3-0 to Zobrist. The key to that pickoff, especially with a right-hand throwing first baseman, Reynolds did a good job. He's played third base and first base. Reynolds did a good job coming to meet that ball, and by the time he made the throw, he was basically on the field turf cutoff instead of laying back and maybe having Upton get in his throwing lane. There you see Pretty solid pitch count over the ball, trying to play it off the backhand by J.J. Hardy. Skips off his glove and into left field. So Ben Zobrist a 2-out base runner.
Zobrist hit the ball hard, but Hardy reaching for a backhand attempt to field it and has it skip past him, and that's going to go as a base hit. Ball hit sharply and essentially out of the reach of Hardy.
J.J. a pretty solid shortstop over there. Probably makes that play more often than not, though. Zobrist with good speed forced the issue a little bit. Hardy knew he had to hustle and make a quick transition. Ends up allowing the base hit as it's ruled to Ben Zobrist with 2 outs. Luke Scott, the batter, pops it up, heading towards the stands. Wieters gives it a look against the screen. No, it hits the screen, says the home plate umpire, Vic Carapazza. He made the catch, did Wieters, but Carapazza said it hit the screen first.
Been an active day for Carapazza. He's done a good job behind the plate to begin with, and he's right on top of this play, right up against the screen. Take a look at this. He's trying to sell it. Carapazza's not going for it.
Father-in-law must be proud in the stands today, huh?
Yeah, we saw Richie Garcia here before the game. He was a great umpire.
Grounded on 2 big hops to Andino. Luke Scott's retired for the final out here in the 6th. So a walk and a base hit. 1 man left on base. We're still knotted at 1 as we head to the 7th.
Jeremy Hellickson, he's been easy breezy today. Hellickson came into the game with a strikeout to walk ratio of just under 2-to-1. Today, though, he's been sensational. 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk. In fact, his career high is 10 strikeouts, which came in his first start last year. Also had a 9 strikeout game last year, but never 8. Several times 7. So Hellickson could be headed toward at least a 3rd place in his career. Maybe, if he hangs in there, a new career high.
All right, Barry, thanks. As we head to the 7th inning, once again, Dwayne Stats.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. The other thing about Hellickson, again, in this game, he's had only 1 3-2 count, and that's a count that has been troublesome for him earlier in the year. First pitch here in the 7th, and Wieters bounces it to second. Sean Rodriguez takes that, and so that is the first out. The strikeouts have been well spread, starting with Chavez, the leadoff man. He got Jones and Wieters in the 2nd. Davis there on the curveball in the 3rd. Reynolds on a curve in the 4th. And Dino out on strikes, and then Davis again on a curve in the 6th inning. That breaking ball, the curveball, has been, number one, effective on its own. Reynolds batting against the shift. But it also has given him another significant weapon, and it prevents them from thinking about that changeup as much. So he doesn't have to go just fastball changeup. The curve has been a significant part of his pitch selection in this game, and it's been a very good pitch for him today.
He's had a few starts where he's only thrown a handful, 5-6 curveballs in a game. But today, you're right, it has become a major weapon, as effective, if not more, than his changeup. Yeah,
and you know, when you think about the pitches that he throws, there's a curveball outside, 2-1. Divide the fastball between a 4-seam and a 2-seam and a changeup, and then he's thrown that cutter and the curveball. So what, you're 5 deep there, and most of the time curveball might be 5th on that list almost every time out. Not today, and it's been a good pitch for him. 3-1. You know, we talked about the trouble he'd had early on 3-2 counts. 1-1 is another important count for a pitcher and a hitter, and the opposition was hitting .367 against him on 1-1 pitches. Now here's a full count, only the second he's had today. 3-2 to Reynolds. Of course, that's a big pitch. The pitcher wants to get up 1-2, and the hitter obviously doesn't want to fall behind, so he wants a 2-1 count if he's not going to put that ball into play. Fly ball back to left. Matsui's going to go to the wall, and it's going to be off the wall. Reynolds on his way to second. That was a breaking ball, and it sort of slurved up there more than anything. That's one of the few that has not been a quality curveball for him. Let's take another look and watch the track.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a hanger. It's up in the zone. Jeremy initially thought Reynolds may have hit it out. He hit it just shy of going out off the left field fence, but 3-2 pitch, and that curveball's right hanging where a lot of times you can do damage with that.
They're almost in 3-2, and unless he's got just overpowering stuff to put a hitter on the defensive, or that great, in some cases they call him a trick pitch, whether it's going to be a devastating split or even a changeup, you know, all bets are off many times on a 3-2 count. And the pitcher wants to throw a strike. There's Jake McGee getting up in the bullpen. Needs to throw a strike. 3-2. Wilson better meet the hitter. And a fastball at the knees. That's a strike. And he may have gotten the feeling there that Hellickson wanted to make sure he got that curveball over 3-2, and it really just rolled and was a hanger up there. Probably fortunate that it was off the wall and not out of the ballpark. The pitch cutting in on him. He fouled it back. 2 strikes.
They've had 5 base runners, and then the 2 full counts that you mentioned, both against Reynolds, resulted in a base runner, a walk, and then double. So 2 of the 5 have come after he's gone to 3-2.
Strike 3 call. Fastball. Put a little something extra on that fastball to pick up a called 3rd strike.
Here you see the fastball at the knees. Benamit doesn't know what to do with that as he looks it over and realizes that's good enough for the 3rd strike. It's a big out right there for Hellickson in this 1-1 game, and his reaction after that strikeout was the same reaction that he had after the double by Reynolds, and it's the same reaction as the figurine that they gave away to the fans yesterday, which is basically nothing.
And even in the conversation with Jim Hickey, the Rays pitching coach, he's not giving it up at all. He's just not doing it. That's just not part of his game plan. Never has been, and never has been, and the idea is probably will never be that.
Well, he knows where you see the pitch count. He knows he's down to his final few batters, especially with Jake McGee, who's been so good warming up in the Rays bullpen. He probably has an idea that he's got a couple of batters, maybe get through this inning and make sure he's at least at 1-1 when he leaves.
Ryan Flaherty hit a line drive into right in the 5th inning that Zobrist caught. That's a fastball well located, strike one. And that's really the key for him, location, as it is for any pitcher. And I think the Rays emphasize, as much as it is pitch selection, it's pitch location. That's foul. Sometimes you'd hear a guy coming in and a pitching coach or a manager, well, why did you throw that pitch? Well, I think the Rays' feeling is that it's not so much which pitch you threw, but the location and how you threw that pitch, whatever pitch it happens to be.
Great example right there, the 0-1 cutter. That's a bad pitch if it's over the plate, but he cut it in off the plate, so the only thing Flaherty could do was foul it away. You're right, it's location, not about the pitch all the time. Now he's got him set up.
The 0-2 and a chopper down the third base side, foul. Boy, we're going to get catcher's interference. Lobatone will be charged with catcher's interference here, and that's something that happened on 3 separate occasions with Chris Jimenez, and now Lobatone will be charged with an error. He just contact with the mitt as Lobatone was reaching for that pitch, and that will put men at first and second and bring Joe Madden out of the dugout and on his way to the mound as Hellickson walks down off the backside of the hill. Robert Andino is due, and the Rays will change pitchers. Good outing for Hellickson. And you know he's sorry to leave with 100 pitches. Back in a moment. Hellickson out working 2 outs into the 7th, and Jake McGee comes on.
Well, some people might wonder why Joe didn't stick with Hellickson there, but it's funny. Sometimes a manager just thinks back to the night before, and here you see Andino late on that fastball from Jake McGee to end that inning. That was an 8th inning strikeout of Andino to end the inning. And look at McGee, his last 9 games. Hard to argue when you go to this guy lately. 2-0 and just dominant lately with that fastball riding in the 96, 97 mile an hour range.
Yeah, Jake turned it up to 97 when he struck out Andino in the 8th inning last night. He faces him in the 7th inning of this game. 2 men on now with 2 men out. A 1-1 tie. And the pitch is a strike at the knees. He comes in firing at 96 miles per hour.
I don't think Jake's confidence could be riding much higher than it is right now.
And of course, Jeremy Hellickson, being the competitor that you would expect, hates to leave. But you've got a strong arm. A little tap to third. Sutton scoops and throws, and it skips past Pena. 1 run is in as Reynolds scores. Flaherty's going to try to score. He is out at the plate. The Rays recover to cut down the second attempted runner. The first one scores. Reynolds scores to make it 2-1. Bottom of the seventh coming. The Rays to limit the damage. The Orioles scored the go-ahead run, and the third potential run is cut down.
Sutton knew he had to hurry with Andino running, and he was kind of off balance with the throw, and then bounced it and was way wide. Pena couldn't save that throw. Good job by Zobrist backing up, though, just throwing a BB, and Lobaton making the tag for the final out.
So the Rays charged with a couple errors leading to the run. It's unearned, but it's the difference in the game right now. And the first pitch in the bottom of the seventh, Sean Rodriguez takes a fastball. That fastball ran away from him a little bit. 1 ball, no strikes. Rodriguez, then Matsui, and a foul ball back. Fastball out over the plate. It's 1-1. So 2-4-0 for Baltimore. 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 errors charged to the Rays. Rays have now made 46 errors this year. 1-2. The Orioles came into this game having made 47. But the Rays on a pace to double last year's total. Ground ball to third. Benavide's throw is on line. Sean Rodriguez, the first out in the seventh. It was an off-speed pitch that got him on the bounding ball. Change up right there.
It is amazing that these two teams have had the success they've had with the defense. And the Orioles didn't play great defense last year either, but the Rays kind of bread and butter, just pitching and defense, and the defense just hasn't been there consistently this year. Prior to today, just 1 error in the last 6 games. They were on a nice little run, but that last inning crept up on them with a couple of errors.
Well, here's Matsui going after the first pitch and lifting a popper down the left field line. Hardy, the shortstop, cuts out there, had the better angle in between Betamide and Chavez, and Hardy makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down in the seventh. Bring out your friends, family, and co-workers. Become a member of the Group Leaders Rewards Program. Earn rewards like a free suite or a Matt Moore autographed baseball. Visit RaysBaseball.com/group leader or call 855-GROUP-TB. Now Sutton Drew takes a strike. Sutton has the run batted in for the Rays. That came in the 5th. Came on a fielder's choice on some good base running by Sean Rodriguez. That's fouled. 2 strikes. Sutton made the throwing error in the top half of the inning that led to the go-ahead run. And when the Rays acquired him, they know that he has experience playing all over the place. Second base is where he's most comfortable. And he's out on strikes. It's a 1-2-3 7th for Mattis. We're headed into the 8th, and it's now 2-1 Baltimore. Brought to you by Sagicor. Plan a bright financial future today at SagicOrLifeUSA.com and by your local Southern Ford dealers. Rays on the homestand. Middle game of the series against the Baltimore Orioles. We're headed into the 8th. And Joel Peralta will be pitcher number 3 for the Rays. Hellickson worked 6 2/3. Gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. Gave up the home run to Chavez back in the 3rd. He had 8 strikeouts. McGee got credit for a 1/3 of an inning, and now Peralta.
We saw his numbers on the year. Nobody in the American League has appeared in more games than Peralta. He and Matt Thornton coming into today with 27 games. And Joel will try and keep this a 1-run game. One of those days where those runs are tough to come by.
He'll face the top of the order. Chavez, who homered in the 3rd, is 1 for 3. Leads off the 8th. Pitch is a strike, a curveball to start Chavez. Boston beat Toronto today up at Rogers Center in Toronto 7-4. That'll move Boston into 4th and drop the Blue Jays into 5th. One ball, 1 strike. Yankees play the Tigers. That'll be tonight. Kuroda against Porcello, the pitching matchup there. And a strike at the knees. 1-2.
Chavez thought it was low, but it had enough at the knees on the plate to get the called strike.
A ball, 2 strikes. And he's out on strikes. A foul tip strikeout. The split got him. The 9th strikeout for Rays pitching.
Throws a lot of splits, especially to lefties, and that time Chavez tried to go down and get it. I think he may have even swung under that. That's a rarity to be underneath the split, but it worked out well for Joel.
And that pitch is one of the reasons he's been so very good against left-handed hitters this year. But with Peralta, he's likely to throw any pitch to any hitter at any time and from any angle. Sometimes it's more leisurely, and sometimes it's a hurry-up delivery. Strike on the outside corner. Nipping the edge. J.J. Hardy with a double in the 3rd, 1 for 3. Swing and a miss. A big cut at the slow curve.
See Peralta, speaking of angles, little drop down curve there up in the zone, but Hardy couldn't connect.
The 0-2 and a foul ball. Got a little part of that one. A fastball stays alive.
That Boston win you were talking about finally moved them out of the basement. They've been in 5th place for a while before today.
Yeah, they started the day with 2 over 500 and tied for last. So they'll go to 28 and 25 now. Oh, 2. Long foul. Well out of play. The current standings in the AL East. Rays up by 1 on Baltimore. Yankees running 3rd. Boston 4th. 2.5 back now. And Toronto in the basement 3.5 back. Low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball to right. Zobrist is right there. It makes the catch. 2 up and 2 down. Now Chris Davis.
When you get to a 1-run game late, you start to think about who you may face in the Orioles bullpen, but they may not have to worry about the bullpen for a little while with Mattis's pitch count.
Yeah, he's in the mid-80s. How about that?
Yeah, he's in a great shape with 2 innings to go.
Only 3 walks total in this game. The pitch is down to Davis. The only walk that Hellickson gave up was that walk to Mark Reynolds in the 2nd. The 1-0 pitch. This one slides corner and left. That's going to be foul. So the count is 1-1. 2 runs, 4 hits for Baltimore. And a run, 2 hits for the Rays.
You know, the error in that last inning that everybody's going to remember is the Sutton throwing error. But that was a costly catcher's interference, too, with Flaherty, because you really hoped that Hellickson was going to get a chance to get through that inning.
Yep.
Jose just reached out a little bit on that outside pitch, and Flaherty with a late swing ended up getting catcher's interference.
A 1-1 count to Davis. Takes a big cut and fouls it.
Crowd hasn't had much to cheer about today, getting ready for that post-game concert, but they should get into this a little bit. The Rays need to keep this game at 1 run.
The Rays trying to hold the Orioles. Peralta trying to get Davis to send it into the bottom of the 8th, where the Rays hope that they can provide some hometown fun. Swing and a miss. He was out in front of the split. Bottom of the 8th coming. 2-1 Baltimore.
Of the 8th inning, you can spend the day at the ballpark tomorrow, June 3rd, when the Rays take on the Orioles as part of Family Fun Day, presented by the Tampa Bay Times. The first 10,000 kids 14 and under receive a Desmond Jennings bobblehead.
Jose Lobaton to lead off the bottom of the 8th for the Rays. Then Elliott Johnson on the top of the order. Carlos Pena against Brian Mattis. Lobaton 0 for 2, struck out his last time, and swings over the slider to start this at bat. Strike 1. 86 pitches for Mattis. He's been very good today. 1-1. It's Pedro Strop. Hard throwing right-hander in the Baltimore bullpen. There's a one-hopper to short. Hardy throws a strike to first. Lobaton is out number 1.
Here's your dilemma if you're Buck Showalter. You're riding a 6-game losing streak right now. Your starter hasn't been in any trouble all day long, save a leadoff double by Sean Rodriguez, who came around to score. So, do you just stick with the guy who you're watching pitch a great game, or do you try and get Strop or Johnson, Jim Johnson, into the game because they haven't pitched in a while? I mean, it's tough to get away from Mattis right now.
Johnson taking a cut and fouling it back. Strike 1. Well, the Rays scored their run in the 5th inning on a leadoff double by Sean Rodriguez, and they really manufactured that run. They had to force the issue to get that run home with the infield in, and Rodriguez at third. Sutton hit the ground ball to second, and the Rays got the run home. Elliott Johnson with that curveball took a big cut trying to tie the game on that cut, and he missed. It's 0-2. Ground ball to first, and it skips past Reynolds into right field. You can almost see that one coming. That ball bounced down to first to Reynolds as he tried to play it to his left. And with the spin on the ball, it seemed to pick up a little speed and skip by him.
See the top spin there. It goes over the shoulder of Reynolds. Reynolds led the American League last year in errors. Most of those made at third base, but that ball did have a lot of top spin, and once it hit that third, really jumped up on Mark Reynolds.
He gets an error on that, and he will make easier errors because of the spin on that ball. That's his 7th error of the season. One on, one out, and here is Carlos Pena. Well, Carlos hit a fastball deep to right in the 6th inning, but Flaherty near the track caught it. The chopper foul. Strike one. The Rays do get some action going in the bullpen, just in case they do create some noise and do something with the bats here in the bottom of the 8th. Fernando Rodney to the left of the screen. Kirk Badenhop to the right. And that's a strike. Pena finds himself down 0-2.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he gets a fastball to hit at this at bat. You're right. That last at bat, he hit that fastball well. Has not looked good on the breaking stuff from Mattis. This could be Mattis' last batter. They may have Strop up there to face B.J. Upton.
Showalter checking with the bullpen on the phone. The 0-2 down. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Take a look at how close that pitch was.
They wanted it outside. He actually missed location and almost missed to the point where he picked up a strike.
Well, you know, there's a case where the catcher had to reach across. Might have been a strike anyway. But because Wieters, who was set up away, had to cross his body to receive that pitch, didn't get the call. And Pena checked. 2-2.
Everything with a wrinkle in this at bat. Carlos barely stayed alive there, just holding up on the swing.
You know, here's the other thing that the Orioles have to think about if they have Strop up for Upton. BJ's 2 out of 4 lifetime against Pedro Strop. Two, and another pitch close but down, and suddenly the count is full.
Upton also 5 of his last 11 against Mattis, and he did line out against Mattis.
Yep.
I can't imagine Strop's up as window dressing. I think Mattis needs to get Pena here, and that might be his day.
Yep. I think you're right about that. Three-two. Pena did not go. That's ball 4. The ball loose. Big turn at second by Elliott Johnson. He'll hang on there. Boy, Pena, you talk about an at-bat. He had some very close pitches in that at-bat and draws a very big walk. And here comes Showalter. The Rays have men at first and second. And that's going to be it for Mattis. So he pitches 1 out and 2 base runners into the 8th and will depart. Back in a moment. third. He leaves with Johnson at second, Pena at first. Only 2 hits allowed, and to this point, 1 run. Pedro Strop, the new pitcher.
23 games on the year, and this is one of the guys that has been so essential in the Orioles' resurgence in 2012. He has dominated in the 8th inning with that 1.35 ERA. Fastball and slider, and he can bring it 96-97 with the fastball.
He was a waiver claim. Here's B.J. Upton. And the high-octane fastball is inside. That's at 97. And a strike on the outside part of the plate. Takes the count to 1-1. So heat from Strop. Foul ball back. Right-handed hitters batting 104 against Strop. 5 out of 48.
I mean, look at those numbers. He's just been so good this year. He and Jim Johnson in the 9th have been locked down for the Orioles. They've been able to protect a lot of leads.
And it's fouled the other way. That one at 99. A 1-2 99 mile per hour fastball, and Upton is still up there after fouling it away. Fouls this one again at 99.
He's making some good pitches. B.J. Upton hanging in there. Look at those velos. 97 for the first 3, and then 1 shy of 100 his last 2.
And again a foul ball back. That's 3 consecutive pitches at 99 miles per hour.
How's this guy a waiver claim?
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Yep.
And the Orioles had a record last year that allowed them to jump ahead of almost every other team. Get Pedro Strop on waivers.
And it's wide. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Not a lot of time to make up your mind with this guy out there. The 2-2 into the dirt, a wild pitch, and the runners will advance. Finally, he tried to throw a slider, and he threw it into the dirt, and the Rays have 2 men in scoring position.
Well, after all those fastballs, he's got a nasty slider. You can see the movement. Sometimes it's so nasty, though, it dives in the dirt, and that time it ate up Wieters a little bit. BJ started that swing, but held up.
So now the count is full. The wild pitch with 2 men in scoring position, the infield end. 3-2, and he walked him. Came back with another slider. How about that? That's another at bat. Pena and Upton have had 2 great at bats getting down in the count. Pena walked against the starter Mattis, and Upton just managed to stay alive on that 99 mile per hour fastball fouling pitches. Then the wild pitch on a slider and a ball 4 on a slider.
You're right. You don't know if the Rays win this game who the hero is going to be, but a large part of this inning belongs to Carlos Pena and BJ Upton drawing walks against tough pitchers. Lefty on lefty for Pena, righty on righty for BJ.
Now it's Ben Zobrist. Ben with a walk and a single and a ground ball to second. Out at second and out at first. The 4-6-3 double play. Andino Hardy to Reynolds. And on the first pitch, Zobrist grounds into 2 to end the Rays' threat. It's still 2-1 Baltimore. Brought to you by Checkers, Feast On, and by the 2012 GMC Sierra. It's our best Sierra ever. Rays and the Orioles move into the 9th inning at Tropicana Field, where the Orioles still lead 2-1, so the Rays have 1 shot left. Joe Madden goes to Burt Badenhop here to pitch the 9th inning. 1 inning for Peralta, 2 strikeouts, and now Badenhop.
Badenhop appearing in his 26th game of the year. Threw all strikes in his appearance yesterday. Unfortunately, the Orioles hit 3 of them for base hits in 1/3 of an inning, but Joe Madden said he felt like that was as good a fastball as he's seen from Burke this year.
Well, here's Adam Jones, and the first pitch is a strike. Jones 0 for 3. Well, Badenhop came out of the 9th inning, gave up those 3 hits. Jones had 1 of them, and before you know it, the bases were loaded there in the 9th. Slider away. The count is 1-1, so it'll be Jones, Wieters, and Reynolds due, as Burke tries to keep the Orioles right where they are. The Rays have Scott, Rodriguez, and Matsui due in the bottom of the 9th. Chopper, that will be foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baltimore got a run in the 3rd on the Indy Chavez home run. The Rays got a run in the 5th on the 2-base hit by Sean Rodriguez. Moved to 3rd on a ground ball from Matsui, and a run scored on the ground ball to 2nd by Sutton on a great slide by Sean Rodriguez. Baltimore with an unearned 7th inning run. That's the difference right now. 2-2. Reynolds doubled with 1 out. Then catcher's interference with 2 outs set up 1st and 2nd when Andino hit the chopper to 3rd, and Drew Sutton's throw to 1st was wide for an error, allowing to go ahead and run to score. There's a base hit lined into left. Matsui over to cut it off, and Jones has himself a base hit. 5 hits in this game for the Baltimore Orioles.
You know, we talk about the defensive struggles of both these teams, but last night the Rays in their 5-0 victory made a lot of solid defensive plays, and the Orioles in that 8th inning, it was kind of a quick flip from Andino, and Hardy did a good job reaching across to turn that double play. That was not an easy play for the Orioles shortstop.
Matt Wieters with a popper back of third. That's foul. Strike one. And Hellickson, McGee, Peralta, and Badenhop. And for Baltimore, Mattis and Strop. Jim Johnson looming for the bottom of the ninth. Strike at the knees. 0-2. And there is Johnson, the Orioles closer, with some imposing numbers. Low block by Lobaton. Adam Jones at first with a leadoff single. And Boston beat Toronto in Toronto 7-4. DuBrant got that win. He's 6-2 now. Foul ball down the first base side. Drabek, the losing pitcher, drops his mark to 4-6. Mathis and Bautista hit home runs in a losing cause for the Blue Jays. That's 13 for Bautista. Nick Punto hit a home run for Boston, his first. It's a 1-2 count on Wieters. Close, but ball two. J.P. Howell in the Rays bullpen. Fly ball, right center. Zobrist cutting back, makes the catch. That's the first out, and Jones returns to first. And Wieters out in front a bit. His power is spent. They hit the fly ball not overly deep to right center. Day game tomorrow. We'll be with you at 1 o'clock. Matt Moore will pitch for the Rays. They finally announced that Jake Arrieta will pitch that game for Baltimore. There's Matt, who threw the ball very well his last time out. Reynolds, and that's a strike to him. Mark Reynolds has walked and doubled, and in between struck out swinging. That's a strike at the knees. It's 0-2.
Reynolds a strikeout candidate, but the Rays also know with Badenhop you can get a ground ball for a potential inning-ending double play. Little tougher though to turn two with that shift. Rodriguez on the shortstop side of second as the pivot man.
Pitch a little bit outside. Yeah, he turns out really, instead of a pivot guy, kind of a catch and flow guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already on that side of the bag, and it does make it difficult.
The other difficulty for Sean is anything to his right, to the third base side. He's got to make a quick decision. Is it my ball, or do I have to break for second for a potential double play if Elliott can get to the ball? So it's a lot to think about in this situation.
And it's upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Reynolds doubled off the wall and left in the 7th inning on a hanging curveball. 2-2. And Badenhop just missed with the fastball.
We mentioned Reynolds with deep counts, and he had the only 2 full counts with Jeremy Hellickson on the mound. Here he is again with another deep count against Badenhop.
Runner goes, and the pitch is fouled. We'll do it again. Rays won last night 5-0. They scored 5 times in the first, and thereafter collected only 3 hits.
It's a stretch of 15 innings now with 5 hits.
Yep. They have a run, 2 hits in this game. Runner goes, 3-2, swing and a miss, and the throw down. Stopped by Rodriguez on the stolen base. Adam Jones steals his way into scoring position as Reynolds strikes out.
Well, they almost ended up with a double play the difficult way with the catch him, throw him out, catch or strikeout, throw him out double play. That ball may have hit Jones. You see Rodriguez coming over to cover, and watch those orange shoes, and you see right off the bottom of that shoe.
So he's at second base. Betemit is due up here. Joe Madden heads to the mound. So he wants the left-hander. That's it for Badenhop. Back in a moment. The Orioles to that 1-run lead to carry into the bottom of the 9th. We'll be with you on Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. Barry and Orestes from their spot post game. Madden press conference, post game interviews as well. And J.P. Howell, the new pitcher, to face Wilson Betemit. Betemit, a switch hitter. The pitch is a strike. Came into this game hitting .226 for the year and 163 as a right-handed hitter. It's a little bit wide. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are the numbers on Howell for the year. That puts JP ahead in the count, 1-2.
Dwayne, Joe likes this matchup not just because he turned Betemit around, but he has struck out against Hal the last 3 times.
Here's pitcher number 5 for the Rays after Hellickson worked 2 outs into the 7th. 1-2 the count. And he started to go, but checked. And that pitch, curveball in the dirt, blocked nicely by Lobaton. Two balls, 2 strikes. And he got a piece of it to foul it back. Change up that was up but away enough, and he had Betemit reaching. Rays due to have the cleanup hitter Luke Scott open the bottom of the 9th inning. Howell trying to get the final out in the top of the 9th. The 2-2. He pops him up. Sean Rodriguez out from second base. Shallow center makes the catch. So we go into the bottom half of the 9th inning. Rays down 2-1. Scott, Rodriguez, and Matsui coming up.
Promised earlier in the game, it is Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. This was the game at this point changing play on the error that got away from Carl error by Sutton, but then Ben Zobrist keeping it in a one-run game by throwing a strike to home again. Ryan Flaherty could have been a two-run lead. Instead, it stayed at 2-1. That's where we are heading to the bottom of the ninth.
And Jim Johnson, the closer for Baltimore, will come on. He has been perfect in the save department. No wins, no losses, 23rd appearance, 16 saves. And here is Luke Scott to open it for the Rays. Need a run to keep it going. And a high foul hit the other way, out of play. Scott 0 for 1 lifetime against Jim Johnson. Sean Rodriguez due next. Pitch away, and it's 1-1. And then following Rodriguez would be Matsui. Ground ball right side, grabbed there by Reynolds, who steps on the bag, and so Scott is out number 1.
Nothing new with Jim Johnson getting a ground ball. Second best ground ball to fly ball ratio in the American League. A lot of sink on that fastball and gets a lot of players bouncing the ball into the turf.
And now Sean Rodriguez, who's 0 for 3 lifetime against Johnson. Matsui, by the way, is 3 out of 8 with a home run off him. Rays down to their final 2 outs. Fastball is low. And a strike. Runs it to 1-1. Blowing away. Curveball, 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Rays worked 2 great walks in the 8th inning to eventually load the bases, but Pedro Strop got the double play ball to end the inning. Fly ball headed toward right, and that is out number 2. Flaherty, Ryan Flaherty making the catch on that one. Well, 2 outs, and the Rays are down to their final out with Hideki Matsui. Matsui 0 for 3, but he does have a career home run off Jim Johnson. And he'll be looking for that first pitch strike. And a chopper right side, and Dino with the pickup throw to first, and this game is over. The Rays go down 1-2-3 in the 9th inning, and it's a 2-1 final. So the Rays and the Orioles have split the first 2 games, tied for first again in the AL East. Same 2 teams tomorrow at 1 o'clock. For Todd Callis, Dwayne Statz, hope you've enjoyed the telecast. If not the outcome, again the final 2-1 Baltimore. See you next on Rays Live, the postgame.